What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Evo X again, getting the Varis kit that we picked up in the last video, all mocked up on the car, make sure there's no flaws in it before it has to go out to paint, and most importantly, get a first look at what this car might look like somewhat complete, because I have yet to see it. I did go ahead and get the kit in the garage. As you can see, it's still all wrapped up in bubble wrap and plastic, so we still have to unwrap everything. And then back here we have the rear bumper, and you can see the difference between OEM and the Varis rear bumper. We have some vents on the Varis ones on the side, and I believe the overall look is just a little bit more aggressive throughout the bumper. This is just the body kit. It's not the wide body kit, so we're not gonna have to be cutting into our recorder panels. The car is gonna remain 100% intact, and the fenders and everything is essentially just plug and play onto the side of the car. I think we're gonna start with the rear of the car and just kind of work our way forward. So we'll start with the rear bumper. I'm hoping this goes on pretty smoothly, doesn't look too complicated, and Varis is awesome enough to provide very detailed instructions. Only problem is, every single step is all in Japanese, and I don't know how to read Japanese. So luckily we have the pretty pictures, and we have a phone app if we really need to translate it. So let's just start by pulling off the rear bumper, and we'll see how it goes. Well, we got the rear bumper off. There is some real janky wiring behind the taillights and dropping down into the lights that sit in the bumper. Can't say I'm surprised, but we'll get that all rewired and nice and neat once we get this thing painted and it all goes back together. But for now, let's unwrap this Varis bumper and see if we can get it mocked up on here. So luckily the rear bumper instructions are actually in English, and we got please remove the rear bumper, please remove genuine number lamps left and right, and fixing the stays. Now they do provide those black little stays in the kit, but coming to my rear bumper, it looks a little bit different. So we have kind of a different setup there. Stays are on a little mount there, and ours are tucked into this piece, which is kind of like welded onto the actual rear bumper. So I'm not sure if we have to take this off. I guess what we try to do is mount this up. If it doesn't fit, then we can, work on some other solutions. Upon further research, the crash bar in the instructions is a JDM crash bar. Us being in the US and having a USDM Evo X, we have a USDM rear crash bar. Unfortunately, there's a sizable difference between the two of them, so we'll have to account for that when installing the rear bumper. Alright, so current situation, we are trying to get the bumper to fit in these little bumper clips on the side, and it's just a little bit too thick, so I've been sanding it down, and we're getting close. Unfortunately, I did break these ones off on the clip, so I need to get a new clip. But these ones, you can see, if I go to push on it, it almost goes in, but it just doesn't want to clip, so I think we just need to sand a little bit more down. It's really thick in that area, and it doesn't want to go in. So I think we sand a little bit more off, and we should be good on this side. Well, about an hour later, we finally got this thing looking pretty much perfect. This gap, like I had mentioned, because the fender's rolled, there's a little bit here, but I think we can unroll the fender a little bit and pull the little bracket back out, and we should be able to close that gap up really, really nice. But other than that, everything seems to fit perfect. Coming over to this side, once we get the new little bumper clips, that'll solve that issue. That'll get tucked in nice. But other than that, she looks pretty good. I like it. So now moving up to the front, we're gonna have to do the fenders first, and then the bumper. I'm not obviously gonna be able to mount the bumper all the way on because we have nothing on the front end to mount it to. But at least we can get a general idea of how it's gonna fit, make sure we don't have to sand anything down too much that's gonna interfere with the paint job. And then lastly, we just gotta do the side skirts. And if those fit up, we'll roll the car outside, see how she looks, and we'll be good. Fenders are fitted up. They honestly fit dang near perfect. I had to make one modification to this one, and I might do a little bit more. You can see right in this area, gap gets a little bit tight, even with all the bolts in this thing. And it was actually just barely catching the door. You can see where it took a little bit of paint off. So I just took some 220 grit and sanded a little bit right in this area. And now you can see it gets very, very close, but it doesn't hit. So I might take a little bit more off just to be safe. The worst thing that could happen is we get this new thing back on here with fresh paint throughout the whole car and we chip it immediately. So might take a little bit more off. Honestly, you can't even tell. The gap is perfect either way. But other than that, everything seems to fit pretty dang good. This, all we gotta do is push this mount in a little bit and it'll fix this gap up. So it lines everything with the A-pillar. But I like it. Now I know you guys are probably going, Brandon, what are we doing with the whole wheel situation? Don't worry, I've got something figured out. You guys will see pretty soon. And then I figured I might as well also come over and do the passenger side. Same deal. Gaps are pretty good all the way down. This will get closed up once we get the bottom bolts in, and that'll sit in there nice. Gap will be good. And this side with the door, it was hitting as well, but this one actually worked itself out. They did send a bunch of this extra great stuff so we can fill in all these little gaps. After it's painted, obviously, we don't want to paint that red. That's going to be just staying silver. Now coming outside, we have the first side skirt. So this is the front, and it's going to get tucked in, and then we have that front, almost like a side splitter type deal that's going to be placed here, and it's a big vent that goes all the way down and out the back. Pretty cool design. I like this a lot better than the stock one. But coming back in here and reading our Japanese instructions, you can see there's these little rectangles under the car. Now my car has the little rectangles, but we don't have the little holes, so I think we'll have to drill that out to 8 mil. At least I can read that. And then these little guys are gonna slip through the rectangle part and tuck up into the hole, and then we'll just screw these brackets into it, and then the side skirts mount to these brackets. The issue I was running into with these is that I think when the previous owner had this car on jack stands, the little rectangles and everything got pushed way up in. So I've been under there with a screwdriver just trying to pry all these back out and try to make them as flat as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but hopefully when we get the side skirt on with the brackets, we can adjust how it needs to be. I can actually probably show you under here. Yeah, you can see that rectangle. Everything's kind of dented in on the entire side skirt area. All right, we took a little break, ate some food. We're back, and I just spent like the past hour or so getting the driver's side skirt installed. Somewhat temporary. Nothing's really tight, you can clearly tell, but let me show you guys this thing. So obviously passenger side, you've seen, we got pretty bare under there. Does not look bad though. I'm really loving this kit. But if we come over to the driver's side now, yeah, look at that thing. It's the biggest friggin' skirt I've ever had on any of the cars. That's like a whole step. Need this in my truck. Yeah, but overall fitment is perfect. I literally can't complain at all. So the only thing is up here, we got to get some clips for the fender. My other fenders didn't have it because previous owner literally just screwed the skirt to it. But once this is in, it's gonna get tucked up and that's gonna look perfect. So yeah, this little added vent is super sick. I love it. And then for the front bumper, I think I mentioned, I'm not really sure how we're gonna get it mounted up here because we have none of the car attached. So I might just have to send it on that. Everything is fit perfect except for the rear bumper. We just need to kind of sand down some of the clips. But even that, if we painted that first, we still just sand the clips from the bottom side. We didn't affect anything up on top, so not a huge deal. Pretty much everything from Varis is known to fit better than anything else. Just some really minor modifications, but nothing crazy. So I'm probably not even gonna get the passenger skirt on. I might go ahead and get the little brackets in like I did on the driver's side, but I'm pretty much trusting that the rest of this is good to go. Tomorrow, once the sun comes back up, we'll roll this outside. We'll get the front bumper kind of mocked up where it should be. If we can get it sitting in the exact location, we will. But I just want to see the entire car with the kit on. Obviously, with the kit being white and the car being red, it doesn't really do it justice. But at least we'll get some sort of idea. I think it's going to look sick, and yeah, just get me more amped to paint this thing. All right, it's the next morning now. I got the Evo rolled out of the garage. I did take the drive shaft off this morning to make it a little bit easier to roll around. You know, before it was clink clank, locking up on everything, making it a pain in the butt. And for the amount we roll this thing around, it's just easier to pull a drive shaft off, and we don't have to worry about that anymore for the time being. So got it outside. It's really, really cool to see the Varis kit kind of bring the vision that I had in my head to life. Obviously, it's just kind of semi-installed right now, but it's getting there, so yeah, check it out. This front bumper, we are gonna have to cut this little rectangle out because they make this front bumper to fit with OEM fenders, and they also make it to fit with the Varis fenders. So the way this works is you kind of cut this little square out and it fits in here, and then they have a piece that sits over the top and screws into that little hole there. We can do that before paint or after paint, doesn't really matter. I'm gonna do it after, that way once we get the bumper mocked up, actually sitting where it's supposed to sit, we know exactly where to cut and we don't make any cuts that we don't need to make, if that makes sense. Super stoked to make more progress on the Evo. Now what we have to do is bring this back in the garage, strip everything down, and then continue stripping things down. We gotta get the kit back off, we gotta clean the engine bay, I gotta pull mirrors, door handle little caps, try to get the windows down, pull the little rain guards off, everything. The more we can get off, the more we can prep and get ready for paint. So yeah, let's just keep stripping it down. Ran out of SD card storage last night, so I apologize, but we did make a lot of progress on the car. We actually were able to get the windows down last night too by hooking power directly to the terminals in the back, or the battery cables, because there's no battery terminal back there. I did some sketchy stuff in the bay to make the wiring harness work, because obviously nothing is really hooked up in there, and it still needed some power to go to the inside of the car. But I figured it out, made it happen, got the windows down, and now we're able to get everything done in the back and the passenger side as well. So here's a little progress update. Here's the driver's side. We got mirror off, obviously all the rubber weather sealing around the window. We got the window dropped as far down as we can get it with a little rag in here just to keep it from rattling against the door. Door handle off, back window, we got obviously the window down. We got the back little glass out, which is sitting right there. And then obviously we got all the vinyl off the middle of the doors here. All the rain guards are off. Yeah, making solid progress. Now coming to the passenger side, I did this on purpose. I pretty much left off exactly where we were on the driver's side when the SD card memory ran out. So You guys will be able to see the whole process on how we get, you know, all these pieces off, the door handles off, the mirror. So might as well get you on the tripod. Let's get to work. I did put a little scratch in the paint there, taking that badge off, but no worries because we're spraying the whole car. Besides the wing and the rear bumper, which is just held on with clips essentially, we pretty much have the entire car stripped to what it needs to be, especially the body. It doesn't really need to go any further than that. We'll probably take these little rubber weather seals out once it's in the booth, but other than that, we'll probably pull these guys out, which takes all of 30 seconds. And we'll be good. This front glass will probably come out because it is cracked. I'm gonna get a new windshield anyways, which is also why I don't mind throwing the whole harness up here. But with this out, it'll help us spray all these little corners how they should be. And yeah, that'll be cool. The rear glass is gonna stay in. There is a big enough gap here that we'll be able to spray that out no problem. And I'd rather not take it out if we don't have to. The last thing we have to do is just clean out the engine bay. I'm gonna do this off camera. Cameron, the guy that's gonna be helping me paint the car, said that oven cleaner works really good. So I'm gonna give that a shot, see if we can get all this dirt, grime, and grease out of here, whatever's left of it. And that way we can just sand it, prep it, and we're good to spray. But we're getting really close to being able to bring this thing over and slap it in the booth. Cameron is up in New York right now, so once he gets back down, we're gonna play around and hopefully get this thing sprayed. Also, I'm sorry if my voice sounds different or I look like I'm crying. I have a cold coming on. I swear, I'm fine, guys. Not crying. I'm gonna wrap this video up right here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am so stoked to get this thing in the booth and painted. This is the first car that I'm ever gonna be painting, especially the bay too. So this might come out really good and it might come out really bad. I guess we'll find out. But I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace out. See y'all later.